What's been running in my mind is these cycles. The cycles that we experience in our world, especially now that we're beginning winter. December 21st from the Western tradition is the winter solstice, when the earth starts to withdraw. It does pratyahara, planetary pratyahara. It withdraws itself. It withdraws the energy from its limbs, and the leaves fall off. It hibernates, and then in the spring it again opens up. It expresses itself. And I was reminded also about when Baba was talking to us about kirtan. He said that the best time of the month to do kirtan is the full moon, because the full moon is that time of the year or that time of the month when things come out. The moon comes in full expression. It's when we're more expressive, and when the dark moon we do kapalak, we do meditation. We go to the dark night. It's the withdrawal internal. And through all of these different cycles, again, I'm reminded about the very core of our spiritual ideology, that is the concept in a personal way of Taraka Brahma, Taraka being that stage between the Saguna stage, being the stage of expression, what we see, the varieties, and the stage of Nirguna, the unknown. What is it? What can it be? How mysterious is it? And again, this movement we're moving now toward the end of the year, and 2009 is coming in a few days, and we enter into a new year, the newness. What's going to happen? What will it be like? It's unknown. So for me, life is a constant movement from the known, the comfortable, the stable, the secure, into the unknown, the unstable. What's going to happen? And so the cycles are constantly moving, and as I move into a new cycle, into a new unknown experience, I move with a little bit of, is it going to be okay? Should I step there? Don't put too much pressure yet, because I don't know what it is. Take my time and gradually move to the next foot, and then step with the next one a little bit tenuously. Is it going to hold me? Is it going to be safe? And move, and constantly, then gradually get a little bit more speed. And so it's interesting that in the United States, as an example, I don't know if this is throughout the world, but I remember in the United States, the New Year was always a baby, and the old year going out was this very old person who was, sort of limping out of the year. So it's sort of like the child gradually gets the momentum to be able to walk, and then starts running and very dynamic, etc., and then slowly slows down and becomes older. So these cycles in and out, what is safe and what is unsafe. And then I was reminded about an experience I had in the Philippines. I was traveling. In the Philippines, there are many islands, so to travel, I needed to take a boat. And boat ride is quite long, and so sitting on the boat, meditating a lot, and a lot of people, bunk beds, etc. And while I was on this boat in the evening, the captain of the boat came and was walking around, kind of bored. Actually, riding on a boat isn't very interesting unless there's a storm. Then it's quite interesting. But otherwise, it's pretty plain. So he was looking for something interesting to do, and he saw this fellow dressed in orange sitting in the middle of his ship, and so he went up to me and said, "Who are you?" And we got into a conversation, and then he invited me to the deck where they're steering the boat. And it was amazing because where we were staying as passengers at the back of the boat, it's quite noisy. You keep hearing the motor all the time. But when you come up on the deck, it's very silent. It's beautiful, very quiet. And it was a beautiful night. The sea was very calm. And there was a big full moon. And it was really beautiful. And he was talking about his experiences. And of course, I was interested in his experience as being a captain of a ship. And then I had the question, what do you do when there's a storm? Because storms are the big waves and the boat gets thrown around, etc. And sometimes the boat sinks. But I wanted to know, what do you do? How do you protect yourself from this tremendous storm? So he said, well, if we know in advance, then usually what we do is we pull into a port that's safe so that we're in the shelter of the port. But sometimes we don't know. So I said, well, what then you do? What do you do then? He said, well, the most important thing when you're in a storm is you have to keep the propeller moving. Because if the propeller stops, then you're at the mercy of the waves. The waves will just throw you here and there. But when the propeller is moving, it keeps pushing the ship through the water. No matter how many waves come and how big the waves, the propeller will keep the ship moving through the waves. So I thought, wow, this is fantastic. This is just like sadhana. My life is full of these waves. You know, the cycles, as I'm saying. Things are changing, the known, the unknown, the known. What's going to happen? Different things happen. Places change, people change. I have things, I don't have things. The economy's up, the economy's down. We have Bush, now we have Obama. Everything, the waves are coming this way and that way. And I'm just being pushed here and there. What do I have to do? Keep the motor running. And what's the motor? Is the mantra. So I have to 20, as Baba said, keep singing kirtan 24 hours a day. Keep the mantra moving. Keep the motor running. What's the motor? It's constantly the repetition of the mantra. So, in keeping the repetition of the mantra, is that what it is? Just simply the so what is it that actually is the repetition of the mantra? Then I'm reminded again that what is my fundamental duty as a spiritual practitioner is ideation. And what then does it mean to ideate? Well, for me, ideation is three things. The first thing that ideation is that, especially when we're talking about Bhavanam Kevalam, Baba talked about Bhavanam Kevalam being 8 syllables because the Kundalini jumps 8 times to the Sahasrara chakra. So I hope during this retreat your Kundalini is jumping. Okay? And I hope it jumps to all the chakras. So as every syllable of the mantra is a particular sound. Ba and ba and na and ma and ke and wa and la and ma. These are the sounds that Baba has selected. And so on an acoustic level, on a sound vibrational level, if we read Baba's book on biopsychology, he talks about these different sounds and how they affect us, how they affect our chakras and glands, our hormonal system, etc. So as we are repeating these sounds, we are creating a resonance, we are creating a vibration in our physical body. And then on the psychic level, when I joined Ananda Marga, it was 1970. Now, today, this time of the year is a bit of a celebration or an anniversary for me because 38 years ago, I left for India at this time of the year. So I'm returning after 30 years to the United States. I don't know what a cycle 38 years is, but anyway. So, what was my concept? I remember the first Acharya who came to this country. When I joined Ananda Marga, he had us believing that Baba was Babaji because in California where I was living at the time, Yogananda's book was very popular, the autobiography of a yogi. And in that book there was a picture of Babaji, the eternal guru who's sitting in the Himalayas with long hair, etc. And so when we did dharmashastra, we had this person's picture. For some reason, Dada wasn't confident enough to put Baba's photo. It was only maybe 3 weeks or 2 weeks before I left for India that suddenly this picture is pulled out and said, it's not him, it's actually him. So So that actually when I got to India and saw this person, well, wow, he doesn't look like Babaji at all. He's got his hair cut. So then that's also when Baba introduced Baba Nam Kevalam in 1970 in October. That time of the year he was introduced. So Baba at that time had a very different concept, and now 38 years later, Baba is a very different concept. So all along, every month, every day, every minute, every meditation, this personality, this divine personality is constantly changing for me. And so today, Baba's somebody different, and tomorrow he'll be somebody different, and constantly it's expanding, so I'm getting a different experience of Baba. So my concept, that's my psychic understanding of what this is constantly changing. So that's the second aspect of ideation for me, is that what is this person? Who is this person? And constantly expanding that, my understanding of what Baba is. And the third thing that makes ideation important for me is that what is my relationship with Baba? So when Baba talks about the Kundalini rising from different chakras, of course some people identify it by different things like the crickets and the bells and all that kind of stuff. But what I identify with more is, at some time while I was sitting in Berkeley doing whatever I was doing at the time, that's a long story, but anyway, suddenly somebody entered into my life who I didn't know existed. And that's Baba. So at that point, you can say as an example, that's the first level of realization that actually this thing that people have been talking to me about for so many years actually exists. That there is something that's transcendental, that there is something divine, there is something mystical, there is something called God, or beyond God. Okay? Because Baba wasn't God. Right? He said in the court in India, those people who say that I am God do not understand the philosophy of Ananda Marga. He's more than that. Okay? So suddenly I understand that there is something like that. And then gradually, over the time, I start to realize that Baba is more than that. That he's not only does he exist with me, but he's actually a buddy. He's a friend. He's with me. He's a constant companion. You know? So I was saying, it's almost like there's no privacy anymore. Wherever you go, he's there. I remember during the emergency when Baba was in jail, he sent out a circular. It has come to my notice that the ladies are taking baths wearing sari inside the bathroom. Doesn't that scare you a little bit? There's a lady taking a bath inside the bathroom in supposed to be the most private place in the world, and somebody's watching. Baba! I mean, that's really privacy, isn't it? And there he is. So that's another level of realization, another level of experience. Wherever I am, there he is. Those donuts really look good, but they got eggs in them. He's looking. Okay, another level of realization is that it doesn't matter what you do, I'm trying my best. I'm not really able to get up for the Panchajanya. I'm not really able to do my asanas every day. I'm really very tired. I fell asleep during sadhana in the evening. I'm not able to do this. Or I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. So just keep moving. Charevati, Charevati. Go ahead. I'm with you. I'm with you. Don't worry. I'm not judging you. I'm not telling you you're going to go to hell or heaven or what. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. So it's a very deep... I have a friend that's going to be with me no matter what happens. He's still going to be there. That's Baba. And I don't know how many people you have in your life who are with you no matter what happens. Even when you smell bad, they're still with you. So relationship for me, this intimacy which is represented by the various experiences, is the third part of my ideation. So I think it's really important as I move into the new year to sort of understand that, again, I have to remind myself that ideation is about what is actually this experience of the sound of the mantra. What does Baba mean to me at this very moment? And what is my relationship with Baba? And to keep that motor running with that ideation, so that no matter what comes in the next moment, in the next second, the next year, in the next hour, whatever, that as the waves keep hitting my little ship as I'm moving through this water, through this life, that I'll be able to maintain the thought of my ideology until whenever. That's my little message. Namaskar. Thank you.